Good afternoon. Welcome to Smitio Best Practices, this time about implementing DORA in Vienna Insurance Group. My guests today are Karin Gubalova, Group Competence Center Lead from Kooperativa, who is responsible for risk management in VIG. Good afternoon, Karin.
Good afternoon.
And Lubomír Buben, also Group Competence Center Lead, but responsible for IT asset management. Luboši, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Before we start going in deep details about the project, I think it would be better to introduce what is VIG Group to give a context for the people who are listening who has no idea. So Luboši, could you maybe briefly introduce VIG Group?
Yes, thank you. VIG is a leading insurance company in Central and Eastern Europe. It was established 30 years back. And today there are more than 50 insurance companies, but also a lot of non-insurance companies as part of the group. And today, actually, we have over 30,000 of employees. It's just a very brief introduction.
Perfect. I think most people know Kooperativa and Česká podnikatelská pojišťovna in Czech market, but it's great to say that it's actually a much bigger group and the CDC is related to the whole bigger part than just Czech Republic. Speaking about CDC, Karin, could you briefly introduce or explain what is CDC and why is it needed?
Okay, so I would like to start with our mission. What is really very simple. Keep VIG Group safe. We need to comply to regulatory requirements. We need to also define some measures, safeguards to protect our assets, to protect our clients and processes which is necessary to serve our clients. And the main trigger was definitely DORA as a new regulatory requirement towards insurance industry. But moreover, this is also the cyber environment when a lot of new rising threats and cyber attacks are coming. We need to somehow handle, as I told, to protect our assets, protect our clients. So those things were all motivator why to start a project. So this was a decision on the group level to start build CDC, which is acronym for Cyber Defense Center, and this should serve all VIG Group.
You mentioned DORA regulations, which are specific to the insurance company. Could you maybe emphasize on that and say more about what it actually means for the insurance companies in terms of procedures?
Honestly, DORA is a regulation for financial sector, so not only insurance companies, and is about to improve the operational resilience in the IT-related fields. DORA brings a lot of challenges. Many things are already implemented on some level maturity in all the companies. What is necessary to say that for insurance companies, this level of regulations is somehow new because usually the regulatory requirements were covered banking sector from the financial industry. So for insurance companies, there are some new things. There is a really new requirements towards ICT risk management, which is a quite huge topic. There are new requirements for the third-party risk management. I mentioned just these two because they are in my area of responsibility. So it's obvious that we need to handle much better than before the risk related to our IT assets, to our processes, which are usually supported by some IT assets, IT infrastructure, applications, services, whatever. And also we need to manage much better our relationships to the third parties because especially IT rely very much on the external services, even for the software houses or the development. Also, there is a lot of outsourcing, new cloud technologies, possibly new AI technologies, and we need to deal with it and to manage the risk which are coming from this kind of relationships.
Thank you very much. So let's go back to CDC project itself. Luboši, can you specify or tell us more about the scope of the project?
Originally, DORA was a driver for CDC project, at least in the beginning. But throughout the time, CDC became quite a huge program. In the scope, there is establishment of 4 GCCs, 4 Group Competence Centers. First, IT asset management to collect information about IT assets, especially hardware and software installations. Then security intelligence to evaluate threats and vulnerabilities. Then SOC SIAM, that is handling incidents and also ensuring endpoint protection. And as Karin mentioned, IT risk management, that is then evaluating risks related to discovered IT assets. Those competency centers were established in different countries under different companies within VIG Group. IT asset management and IT risk management competency centers were established under Kooperativa in Czech Republic, and security intelligence is based in Poland, and SOC SIAM partially in Austria and Poland. In today's discussion, we will focus on IT asset management and risk management, as those are areas for which we are responsible with Karin. Also, there are some supporting bodies. For example, we have created a ServiceNow platform team that is developing and maintaining the platform on the ServiceNow system. That is central point for integrating various tools and interchanging data between individual GCCs.
Actually, when you introduce the project, it's kind of a huge scope. I'm wondering how many parties, companies are involved in this. Karin, can you share some data?
Maybe we have different scope with Lubos. There's some reasons and some technical reasons behind it, but we have I have in the scope 86 companies, but not just as IT, but I need to also onboard the business part of the company, because IT risk management, third-party risk management couldn't be IT topic anymore. It's required by regulators that the management overview, management responsibility need to be somehow precise, handled, assigned. So we need to have users or the assets owners also from business lines, from the companies. So for us, it's a higher demand to really handle not only this IT part and discuss the IT geeks, but also we need to speak with the people who are not so familiar with IT topics. And usually even the risk assessment, risk mitigation responsibility is somehow new for them. Yeah, so it's somehow challenging for us that it's not about the really IT.
From IT asset management perspective, as Karin mentioned, the scope is slightly different. Overall, we are aiming to collect hardware and software assets from 105 entities across 30 countries in Europe. Anyway, out of those 105 companies, only 34 companies are IT service providers, meaning that some companies are outsourcing IT services to different companies within the group. So in the end of the day, we are cooperating with 34 different IT service provider companies in VIG Group that will help us to cover the full scope of 105.
When I hear the numbers, and it's not even number of people, just number of companies and countries, it's kind of like a huge project. I can't even imagine, how do you handle the communication? Karin, how do you organize yourself to be able to communicate effectively with all those parties involved?
We are using the shared communication, shared depositories over the Microsoft services. So we are mostly using Teams as a common platform for sharing the documents, sharing the thoughts, sharing the problems. We also use some stuff from the ServiceNow, which allows us to handle the agile approach, which we are applying through the project. So we are collecting all the changes and necessary things through the stories. We are using the Monday to manage the onboarding of the companies, project management stuff. So there are a lot of technologies which help us to somehow share the information, communicate into the streams, which in the project this is called streams. Also to handle the cross-stream communication, and also handle the communication towards the entities.
I would like to add that the group or headquarter of the group is based in Austria. However, the language for communication on the project is English. And also, you're right that communication was or is essential for project success, and especially in the early days of the CDC program, it was critical aspect within the very short timeline to make sure that everyone on the project is aligned. Because even from the beginning of the project, there were 100+ people involved in different countries, and once things were moving fast, it was critical for success to make sure that each knows the right part of the information.
What I understood from the Vienna Insurance Group countries or companies involved, it's mostly European companies. But I can imagine, even if it's European companies, there might be some culture communication differences. Karin, have you experienced any issues as you have to communicate online? Were there some, differences which cause some misunderstandings, for example?
No, because we all are aware that we are working on a big international project. So everyone is very, very patient when it comes to the misunderstanding, the culture differences. And at least from the core team, we really appreciate that we are able to share the knowledge, share the information. And for me, it's amazing to sit at one table with the people from different countries, use the common language. This is not native for any one of us, so we are using the English for the communication. Even the English is not a language of any involved party. Yeah, so that's really amazing that we are able to communicate. Even for instance, our English is not perfect. We are able to make some decisions. So for me, it's still amazing and surprising how great it's going. So it's not about the really culture topics.
I would like to confirm what Karin just said. In the time of globalization, it's more and more about individuals, not cultures as such. So even though we are working with people from West Europe and East Europe, comparing, for example, someone in Germany and Georgia, it's not as big difference. Language is the same. It's not natural for any of those, and everyone is very cooperative. But I would like to mention that as I said, there are some supporting bodies on the CDC program, and before me or Karin get in touch with entities, there is always some communication established with those entities. And CDC is a transformation project or program. So it's very important to make sure that everyone on the project understands the common goal, and we are all moving the same direction.
Karin, would you like to add something?
Yes, just for your the better picture, our entities are using 19 different languages. I was counting this for a different reason, and 5 alphabets. So it's really a big cultural mix.
Yeah, it sounds like a project of a lifetime. Have you handled similar projects before in your career, Lubomír?
In my previous engagements, I was establishing IT asset management under PPF for Home Credit Group. And on this journey, I was working with companies in North America, Europe, and Asia. So in that setup, it was much more significant, the culture difference across continents. Also in my previous job, I was creating IT asset management and procurement in pharmaceutical company operating in North America and West Europe. In that case, it wasn't that different from what we are doing now, because those cultures are much more similar, and the complexity is there always in each company. In each case, there might be slightly different issues, but it's similar. It's similar journey to make sure that we are using the synergies across a much bigger group.
I know I'm going a little bit off script, but I just wanted to go with the flow a little bit, and I promise I will soon go back to the agenda. But Karin, I wanted to ask, you mentioned, or Lubos mentioned, that there are 4 pillars of the CDC project, and 2 of those are under Kooperativa responsibility. It's kind of big thing, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's an honor for Kooperativa to be recognized within VIG to lead the project. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, for me, it's a lifetime project, definitely. And what is really unusual that normally these projects are somehow pushed from the mother companies, and as most of our big banks are financial institutions are owned by foreign companies, it's usually that the projects are run on their side somewhere in the other parts of the Europe. For that reason, it's really something extra what is running now in Kooperativa. The reason why it was set this way is coming from the challenges and the situation. Maybe we can move really to the next slide. At the beginning, there were many challenges. We already discussed the time constraints, because DORA will be valid in mid of January next year. There was a really large number of entities, a large number of new staff, new processes which need to be incorporated. And what is also important, that the group governance was very lean before. So there wasn't a strict governance towards the processes. There were several guidelines on security policies, yes, but the push of the processes weren't so strictly monitored and set from the mother company. So that was a really challenge for everyone included into the project. And at the very beginning, the decision was that really the strongest companies will cover this problem, the topic which make be very complicated, critical, and help other companies also to reach some maturity level. So that's one of the reasons why Kooperativa was incorporated and involved. And also, when it comes to the IT risk management, the Kooperativa was discussing using some automated tool to manage the IT risk before. So there were some discussions, there was some maturity level, some information, some thought before. So they just spread this through the whole group. Yeah. So Kooperativa will help the whole group to raise and to cover this topic.
From my side, I would like to add that comparing to previous experience, Karin is right that the governance in VIG is not in place, or just very little of it. So in my previous experience, there was always some group body already existing, some group governance that was just extended. From this perspective, it was much easier. Now in CDC, we are building this group organization, and the transformation of VIG group is visible, and we can feel it. Everyone on the project can feel it. And from the Kooperativa perspective, I think that it's a great opportunity to have impact on the future direction of VIG group as such. And we take it as big responsibility to represent Kooperativa on this program.
Karin?
Yeah. What is probably necessary to add that Kooperativa is one of the biggest companies in the group. So this higher maturity level is quite normal and natural, so it's coming from the situation.
Understandably. If I go back to the scope of the project or a roadmap, we kind of a little bit know deadline, as Karin mentioned. DORA will be has to be implemented by the beginning of next year. But Lubos, I will give you the roadmap slide. Can you maybe share more about when the project started, how is it going, where you are now, and what are the next steps?
The project was initiated, but first pieces of projects were establishing in 2022. So before we even joined VIG, both me and Karin joined Kooperativa last year. And before we joined, RFP was already finished and GCC were being established. But once we joined, we were able to participate on the solution design that was running 4 months last year during summer. And afterwards, according to the design, we started preparing the systems and tools. So we initiated the build phase. Normally, if we would have more time, typical pilots would be launched afterwards, but due to very limited time, we were launching pilots in parallel with build phase. That was extremely complicated when the platform was not ready. And currently, we are finalizing last entities in the pilot stage. And actually, all GCCs are already running full-size rollout of all entities. And again, once we are finishing rollout in one entity, it's handed over to operations. So at this moment, we must handle both rollout of new entities and operations of already rolled out entities. On our GCC, we mentioned that Item Competence Center is responsible for discovery of assets and collection of data into central repository. But there is also a plan that is already in motion to use synergies of this data and leverage the data for full IT asset management. That's why the GCC is called IT asset management. And in parallel with rollout and operations, we are already preparing the design and processes for IT asset management. So meaning that we will extend the data in CMDB for software licenses, for information about financials, contracts. Therefore, we will be able to evaluate license compliance, be able to support cost efficiency, and cooperate with group IT procurement to find more opportunities in terms of cost savings.
So now you are developing the tool and designing the processes, and this as a Kooperativa, right? What are the role of other companies involved, Karin?
What we are doing now is we are testing processes which we designed on our pilot companies, we have some lessons learned from pilot phase. So at the moment we are starting rolling out, and very easy said that we are maintaining the tool, governance, and methodology, and entity are responsible to start the processes and to collect the data. Yeah. From my perspective, the rollout phase ends by the end of the Q3 because the onboarding of the entity to the product is just a start for them, because we just allow them to start the risk management, risk assessment, and all these risk management processes. So they will need to have some time to handle it and to provide these real risk assessments. So our intention is to onboard the biggest entities as soon as possible, to give them as much time as possible, because the deadline is same for everyone. Yeah. So shortly, we are responsible for the platform and methodology, and are responsible for the data, and that process will run on their side.
And what technologies and tools are helping you with managing the project, and how do you handle the integration? We talk about it a little bit when we cover the communication and stuff. But from the technological side, Lubos, can you specify more?
I'll be happy to, because from technology perspective, it's very interesting what we are building in CDC. As I already mentioned, ServiceNow is the central point, the central platform that we use to exchange information between GCCs. In ServiceNow, we are using modules for IT service management, including CMDB, software asset management, especially for software normalization, and IT risk management. Also on central side of CDC program, we have Tenable, Splunk, CrowdStrike. We have Active Directory in Azure to make sure that data about users and locations are gathered across the whole group. There is also a lot of technologies on the entity side. For the discovery, we need to implement MID servers for both horizontal and agent client collector data collection. We are integrating, for example, public clouds like Microsoft Azure and leveraging data from there. Some companies, and Kooperativa is one of those, have already solid CMDB in place, and we do integrate such existing CMDB and use the data that are already in place. And at the same time, we work with entities to improve the quality of their local CMDB. Also, we integrate some local discovery tools like Manage Engine or Lansweeper. The technologies across VIG are not standardized, so we are expecting to meet any possible technology on site of any of those companies. So from technology, it's very interesting, and we have possibility to work basically with any. Last but not the least, I would like to mention that in each company, we need credential store to make sure that all the discovery and communication with endpoints and servers is done in a secure way.
Very good. Thank you so much. We have talked already about challenges a little bit, but I would like to take the chance now to ask you personally, what has been the biggest challenge on this project for you, Karin? Can you remember anything like specifically which give you hard time?
I love challenges, so it's for me it's somehow pleasure to hand over and to really manage the complex systems. But what is maybe most interesting for us that we are changing the organization culture in the entities. We are changing the processes. It is not only the way that we tell them, hi guys, you need to somehow change your risk assessment process, but we need to support them to enforce this change within their entity, to give them some facts on tools how to also change the mind of other responsible person in the entities. Because when it comes to especially the third-party management process, when you are managing the vendors, it's not just a responsibility of the IT guy who is a contract owner for whom is the contract realized, but it's also the responsibility of the compliance, legal, DPO is usually involved when it comes to the personal data processing. So a lot of people from the entities need to communicate, cooperate over one topic, and this usually giving us the opportunity to really change the culture of the company. So this is one of the biggest challenges and also the opportunities. Yeah, and we need also to deal with the situation that the maturity level in the entities is very different. And honestly, we thought it would be a biggest problem to take over the entities which have a very low maturity level. But finally, it looks this way that they really appreciate our project, and there is much easier to study communication with them because we are building something on a green field. But when you come to the entity, when they already have some processes but not fully aligned with your system, you need to change the processes, change somehow the data, our way, how the data are collected. And this is a real challenge. So there are hard discussions with high mature entities and much more complications coming from this. But this is not a problem. It's something we need to take over and handle properly.
If I should pick some challenge from my side, the most difficult for me was limited time. During every project, there are problems that must be resolved, but from the perspective of time, it's very difficult. And it was very interesting to see that everyone on the project is a professional that would like to prove what we can do. But there was very little time to bring the result. So it's leading to reducing the expectation and reducing the quality in the end of the day, meaning that we cannot perform as well as we would like to. And it's very unnatural for everyone, because if you would like to do your best to build a solution and you know that you have limited time, so you have to reduce the quality, it's unnatural for everyone to accept that we don't have time to provide what we would like to. Anyway, as we mentioned, we are building the group organization, and there are different cultures in each company. And I would like to say that challenges or embracing challenges is something that is defining the organization of CDC. In my opinion, everyone on CDC must accept the challenges in the positive way, because of all those things that are mentioned not only on this slide, but just delivering the project with all defined goals within this limited time is a real challenge.
When we talk about the roadmap, what's the long-term plan? I suppose you grew the team now, you hire quite lots of experts to help you with the limited time to achieve the goal. What will happen next? What will happen once it's settled? Or is it ever going to be finished project? Or like, what is the prediction about it?
I can answer. It's not a prediction. It's something which will happen if we won't succeed. It's no way how to handle it differently. And what is also necessary to realize that we are at the moment building as basics, really some cornerstones on which we will build the new functionalities and to develop new areas in the future. So at the moment, we are onboarding the entities with some really minimalistic scope to give them chance to fulfill at least the basics DORA regulatory requirements. But for the future, we need to improve even in the defined processes. That means the IT risk management will be defined more precisely. Maybe we can dig in bigger detail when it comes to the control environment evaluation, or we can also include other processes as for instance, business continuity management or internal control system management, which is more related to compliance. And via onboarding or including all these processes into one tool, there will be a lot of synergies we can use in the future. So the more topics we will hand over, the more, the bigger maturity we can deliver also to entities. And what is maybe important to say that at the moment we fulfill really the needs of the all the entities, and probably the small and medium-sized companies will be at the end satisfied. But we need to continue to take over also the stuff from these most mature companies and to help them increase their maturity level, because they usually their requirements are much higher because of the complexity of their processes, and internal environment is natural. Yeah.
I fully agree, and as I mentioned, we were not able to build a solution in the quality we would like to. So we already have a lot of plans for following years, and it's not, as Karin mentioned, it's not prediction. We already now know that there will be additional projects starting in the beginning of 2025. Those spin-off projects will be focusing, for example, on IT asset management leveraging, but we will also, from the CMDB perspective, on scope of RGCC, we will keep working on the quality of data in CMDB, extending from the perspective of CI classes as well as attributes, and overall improving the quality of the service. CDC program and establishing of GCCs is actually the beginning of the journey. So in the end of 2024, the journey will just continue.
On this continuous journey, are you still going to grow the team, or do you already have all the experts you need?
Our GCC, we are still hiring. We have 2 positions open for the specialization of CMDB and 1 position related to IT asset management. We aim to onboard everyone by end of this year. And at this moment, we don't have plan to grow further next year. However, depending on the needs of the VIG group that will, in my opinion, develop over time, it can happen that with growing responsibilities, also the team can be growing. But at this moment, it's not in plan.
Karin, are you having any opportunities in your team at the moment?
At the moment, I was lucky. I was able to hire two good candidates during past month, but I have one more vacancy, one more FT approved since beginning of January. And then we will see how big the growth will be based on the topics we need to include as a new things. Because if we will go for the business continuity management, even for the enterprise risk management, there is a new challenge, new area, when we need to hire the appropriate experts. So this will be adjusted based on the needs, as Lubos told, the VIG groups and all of the topics covered for the future.
So there is still chance for whoever might want to be part of this incredible project. But I know, as you mentioned, and also I kind of like check you on LinkedIn, you both joined Kooperativa for the project. As Lubos mentioned, the project was already ongoing, so you knew what you are signing for. Can you maybe share what was your personal motivation to be part of it, Lubos?
First, I would like to react that we already know what will happen. To be honest, I think that nobody in CDC in the beginning knew exactly what's going to happen. And it was very interesting for everyone to learn what we actually signed for. Nevertheless, why I accepted this opportunity is that in CDC, I feel that we can bring benefits and bring impact to VIG in a good way. I myself really like challenges, and this project looks really challenging. So in my opinion, it seems like a lot of fun, and I was not wrong. It's been a year now. I'm in Kooperativa and working on this project, and it's been a ride, and I don't think it's gonna soon end.
Karin, is there anything you would like to add? What was your personal motivation when you got the job offer? Why did you accept it? Yeah,
this is really a challenge, and it's still over my expectation. So it is the most complex thing I have been working on, and it's great.
Perfect. So last question, what you are the most excited about? Like, what is in future? What's the milestone which you can't wait to achieve in terms of this project?
On my side, I need to say that I'm already enjoying in a good way the results of what we have done during past year. We are in the phase when we are delivering to entities the solution that we were preparing. And for me, it's rewarding to see that entities we have been working with are welcoming those services and welcoming the improvement we are bringing to them. Of course, at the same time, I'm very much looking forward to next year when we will able to also leverage IT asset management and extend the configuration of assets also for financials, and be able to more contribute to success of VIG Group. There have been moments and bad moments, but in my opinion, I think it's extraordinary to see that such a huge project is more or less still on track, and we are able to appreciate the results that we were hoping for.
This project is maybe one of the biggest cybersecurity projects in Europe. On the European level, definitely based on the feedback we have already. We held some presentation for ServiceNow, and is a really big worldwide company. And even for them, our project is one of the biggest already on the table. So it's a great pleasure to be part of it and to really challenge. We are not just changing the VIG group, but we are changing the way how all this cybersecurity stuff can be handled in the future. And we are learning a lot of things every day. Even with ServiceNow is learning from us. So it's really great opportunity to change the things.
One more comment from my side. I forgot to mention that as this project is attracting the people with similar mindset and similar professionals, in the end, there is an amazing group of professionals. And also from my side, from CMDB and IT asset management, the team is very strong, and it's unique how big and knowledgeable team we have, and we are able to learn from each other.
Perfect. I think that's a great end of our introduction. So thank you so much for sharing, and I wish you good luck, and I hope you will still enjoy the project as the years to come.
Thank you for having us, and have a good day.